Okay, it's New Year's Day and we are going to Shitennō-ji temple. This is a Buddhist temple that was built in the late 500s. I think it was the year 593, but I will put the details in the description here. It's tradition to visit temples and shrines on New Year's Day to get your first blessing of the new year, so let's go. What a blessing it is to be here today. New Year's Day, the sun is out, birds are singing, and able to get my first prayer and blessing of the new year, along with thousands of other people. Okay, I'm off this one of the side streets here at Dotonbori, and gotta be honest, this Dotonbori area has been probably my least favorite area of Osaka so far, but I found a little back road and am just taking a stroll here. It's a lot more peaceful. A little more my speed. So I walked into this store and was looking around at the different plushies. There's a lot of Nintendo ones, and I was like, maybe, just maybe, there'd be an Animal Crossing section, and there is. And then I looked over and I saw my favorite villager. This is Marshall. He is my favorite villager that I have on Animal Crossing. I'm so excited that he was here. There's only one of him, and he's coming home with me. This is so cool and so crazy. Stumbled on this store, and I'm pretty sure this is not a unique thing in Japan, but there's all the old gaming systems, Nintendo, PlayStation, Sega, and tons of games. And they're even repairing old machines in the back. And they have gaming merchandise and stuff too. Controllers, like, this is probably a super standard thing here, but it's not something that you see in the US. It's really cool. Old controllers, Super Nintendo controllers. N64, hell yeah. Old Sega machines, wow. Old Game Boys and Game Boy Colors. Like literally every old gaming console and tons of games. Like, yes. All of them. And smaller guys and all the toads. And then this is where I found Marshall, but these are all of the Animal Crossing characters. You see a lot of them that you might recognize here if you play the game. And different villagers. Back at my hotel after a pretty long adventure, I started out this morning by going to the Shitennō-ji temple, and that is a Buddhist temple. There are two primary religions in Japan. There's Buddhism and Shintoism. I got a little bit of footage there, but I didn't get as much as I would have liked, and the reason being is it was such a mix of experiences. First, you have like the very intimate moments that are people going and praying and making donations and visiting the graveyard portion of the shrine where it's maybe their ancestors or just people that they're wanting to pay their respects to. And a lot of that is very intimate and private, and even though most of those areas didn't have signs about no filming, I just was trusting my instinct to respect their space and their annual ritual that they were going through there. So I intentionally skipped out on a lot of that content. On the other hand, there's a whole other element to the New Year's celebrations at the shrines, and it was more of a festival. There's food vendors everywhere and even some goods and wares being sold. I had a fantastic fish waffle with red bean paste inside. It was so good. I didn't get any footage of it because I was just too in the moment of enjoying it, but I'll insert a picture so that you know what I'm talking about generally. So I did get some of that festival vibe content that's very social. There were so many people out. The smells in the air from all of the vendors, it was so delightful. What a unique experience to be a part of. Now, I also wanted to go and check out a Shinto shrine, and specifically the Namba Yasaka Jinja shrine, and I went there and literally the queue was 2 blocks long, and I mean around both of the blocks, and I couldn't stand in line for over an hour just to get in to see that. So I'm really sad that I missed out on that. But I am happy that I prioritized going to the Buddhist temple first, because actually I took a Buddhism class when I was in college and really enjoyed it. So it was kind of cool to be able to see that manifested in real life and go to my first Buddhist temple. All that to say, I'm sad that I missed out on the Shinto shrine, but from there I went to Dotonbori, and I thought it was gonna be a lot more dead than it was, but it was so populated. There were people everywhere, and even with a lot of the shops closed because it is New Year's Day, the streets were still packed and flooded, and there were a lot of vendors in that area that were open still. Food vendors and tourist shops primarily. If I'm gonna be honest, it was probably my least favorite area of Osaka. I feel like the city has a lot to offer, and the Dotonbori area, it is just so touristy and so packed, and I just don't think it's the best that Osaka has to offer. It was not my favorite area, and I'm generally okay with the large volume of people, but this just it wasn't doing it for me. I did, however, get my pilgrimage to the famous Glico Man sign and got my photo and some video content with that. But from there, I kind of trailed off into some side alleys and ended up wandering into an area that was very unexpected. It was very manga and video game and gachapon and arcade centric, so it had a lot going on. Got a lot of gachapon. I actually have 4 here that I want to open up with you. Actually, we'll open those in another video. I have a separate dedicated gachapon vlog in the works. And I also stumbled into a really cool store that was just everything game consoles. I was in heaven. As someone who grew up with Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64, Game Boy Color, Game Boy DS, Nintendo Wii, and now the Switch, it was very nostalgic for me and very just, I could not stop smiling. So the name of that amazing Nintendo store is Super Potato Retrocon Ota Road Branch. I'll put the link in the description in case you want to check it out. Outside it has a chained up Mario and what looks like a life-size G.I. Joe or US Army soldier, but did not expect to go in there first off, and I was like, oh, but they have some Nintendo plushies. I wonder if they have Animal Crossing. One thing I was going to keep an eye out for on this trip was for Animal Crossing plushies, specifically for my favorite villager, Marshall. And you will not guess who I found right when I walked in. It's Marshall. It's Marshall. I was so happy. It was the only one. I definitely snagged him. It was meant to be, for sure.